Hello everybody, it's wee Paddy, and it's wee Paddy's Parlour podcast. As you know, I'm technically inept, so I don't know how to do podcasts. I wouldn't even try to do a podcast, but it just seemed to play on words, PPP. So this is what it is, and what it is, it's my new series that I'm thinking of starting, and it's my way of sitting face to face, eye to eye, having a little chat with especially my subs who don't have channels and who like a bit of interactive play within a channel. So it's really, really simple. Every now and then, I don't know how often I'm going to do it or how popular it'll be, but what I'm going to do is pick a topic and I'm going to talk on it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour. I have no idea. It might be two topics if it's short, but all I want to do is sit and have a wee chat and talk about knives. Now, as you know, my wife's in hospital at the minute, so I'm just sitting here. I'm back from hospital. She's doing really well. We've been very, very fortunate, and so this is just a wee chat about knives. And I didn't know where I gave more thought to the channel name than I did the conversation tonight. And then I was sitting there and I thought, right, okay, let's talk about some of the things that come up this year. I have found out in the knife world in the last 3 years that I need to know more about knives than I ever thought I needed to know. I thought a knife just had to cut. That's a lot of rubbish. You have to think of the HRC, you have to think of the thinness behind the edge, you have to think about the ergonomics. It's all a very complicated thing. So my wee chat in the parlour, in my front room, is all about things that you have heard or things that you want to know about and you haven't wanted to ask. This is my way of answering my subs' questions. So it can be on anything to do with knives whatsoever. I might even throw the odd wee private thing in if you ask. You never know. But today and tonight, all I'm going to do is talk about, there's an awful lot at the moment on thinness behind the edge. And I'm thinking, I never thought about this before I came into the knife world. I had a knife, it was either sharp or blunt, and it cut things. Now I need to be thinking, you see. I need to be thinking, what is the thinness behind the edge? Now, what does that mean? Well, let's just go here. Let's just start of a wee Benchmade 940. One of the most popular, one of the most well-used knives on YouTube and out there. You know, this is what I would call an expensive pocket knife. In fact, it is an expensive pocket knife. To most people who are not in the knife world, this would be an extravagant buy. This is a worker. It has been tried and tested by so many people. So many people have had this knives, and in fact, this is my grail knife. And I now have knives much more expensive than this, but this is still my grail knife. This is still what I call a knife to go to if I need to do any job, because it'll do most jobs that I ever needed to do. And that's what I thought all knives done, the jobs you need to do. There was just different types of knives. But now, this is S30V. Benchmade does S30V really good. And I'm glad I'm finding out about things like this. These testings, the testing we had last year, now never mind all the hullabaloo that went with it, but calling manufacturers up about their blade steels and were they good enough, not even were they good enough, were they what they said they were? So that has been good. And Benchmade S30V is brilliant. So there's nothing wrong with the steel. The knife in itself is an absolute dream. Anybody would enjoy playing with this. I mean, for a non-knife person, when they see this and they see the action and they have a go, they just love it. But it is an amazing tool. And that's what most knives are for, is tools. So, the thinness behind the edge, does it matter in my Benchmade 940? I never give it a thought up until this year. Never give it a thought. The Benjamin 940 is as thick as a trunk. For want of a better word, it's as thick as a trunk. It's about 26 thousandths. I had a quick go there, I measured it. 26 thousandths behind the edge. Now, if we take the average that you would want, apparently, is about 20 thousandths behind the edge. Chunky. Chunky monkey. And you never thought you'd say that about the wee Benjamin 940 that fits in your hand, hides away, and works like a Trojan. Works like a Trojan. Box cutting, whatever. I mean, people say that they find it hard to push it through boxes. For heaven's sake, I'm a 60-odd-year-old man and I can push it through a box no problem. So if you can't, well, look, get somebody else to cut your boxes up. You're in trouble. So, I mean, this will cut boxes fine. I'm not going to sit and do a box test that I would sit and do where I'll do 200, 300 cuts through cardboard on a daily basis. Now, if you do that, then the thinness behind the edge, the geometry of the blade might be important. And I suppose there's where it is. If you require an ultra thin blade with a geometry that will cut through, material, whatever it may be, then you maybe need to think about blade geometry. But to be perfectly honest, old fat Phil, I really don't need it that much. It's not something that I ever thought about up until a year ago. And this year has sort of opened up. But I can see the relevance of it. I can see why certain people would want thin behind the edge. And the other thing that I'm finding out about thin behind the edge, which is the bit that sort of started this thought process off in my head, is that to get a blade thin behind the edge means a bit more tooling, means your tooling has to be a bit better. It has to, you have to have the tooling for the job. It's not just something, most blades now are not free-handed. These are production knives. So you would need to up your production blade, the grinding blade, to get them really thin behind the edge. I mean, it's not just all right, let's do it. An awful lot of work would have to go into it. But for a knife like the 940, which is an all-rounder, this is the everyman's knife, because it'll do most jobs every man ever needs, and there's no problem with it being a bit chunky behind the edge. Doesn't matter, because it is a bit of a pry knife. It's a bit of a knife that you'll do everything with. So, that brings me on to my next one. The Spiny Chef that I got for Christmas. Now, you would think that if you're going to make a Spiny Chef knife, you would think that you would really, because I mean, Spiny Chef gives it all away. It's the imitation, the folding knife version of a chef's knife. So you would think that if you were making this, you would make it very, very thin behind the edge. It doesn't seem to be, it doesn't seem to be right, because this is about, what did I measure this at? This was 20 thousandths behind the edge, which is like most Spydercos. Now, I don't do, when I'm doing my reviews, I don't normally do behind the edge measurements. Maybe I should, and if you would like me to do it, by all means give me a shout. I'm not very good at doing measurements. I just like the knife, or I don't like the knife. I give it a test, and I test it. You've seen my tests. They're pretty upfront. There's nothing spectacular about them, but they let me know if the knife's okay, and then I sharpen them, and it lets me know if they sharpen them, if they're okay, and what they sharpen like. This is LC 200. I bought this not for its thinness, but for its wear resistance. It is a really good steel, and it's nearly stainless, and I mean completely stainless. This whole knife has nothing in it that will rust. let's just say I don't leave it in the sea for 10 years, I don't know, but it's not going to rust. So, and I can just wash it under the tap when I use it with food, which is what I want to use it for. I love having my knife and taking it out and doing something. You know, I mean, I don't, that's it, that's just me. I like doing that. If I'm caravan or camping, whatever, I've got a chef's knife on me. But it's also just a blooming good knife for EDC. But it's only £20,000 there, so it's not super thin. Will it slice an apple and all? I don't know. I'm going to do that in tests and see whether, you know, the way sometimes you slice an apple and bust open and break open or whatever. We'll see what that's like. I watched a lot of videos. I don't think I'm going to have that problem. I don't think I'm going to have that problem. But it just goes to show that, you know, when you get chef's knives, you're down to 10,000, you know, even less, 5,000 behind the edge. So I would have thought this would have been thinner, a lot thinner, to be honest. Somewhere at 12, say. 12,000 behind the edge would have been, I would have thought, a good place to take it. But they didn't. But I bought it knowing exactly what it was and knowing what I've learned this year about blade geometry, because it'll be good enough for anything I need to do. I don't need to get a tomato and thinly slice it so you can see through it. I'm chopping a carrot up to go in my bowl of stew, or I'm chopping a bit of chicken up to go in my bowl of stew. So it's not that important to me. But is it important to you? And I know I'm sort of being a bit flippant. I'm not trying to be, but that's the way I come across half the time. Is it that important as long as it cuts okay? Is it that important? Now, I'm paying a lot of money for this knife. This is an expensive bit of equipment. And maybe I should care more of how thin it is behind the edge. I knew it was thin because I'd watched videos. I had never handled this. We don't have somewhere over here where I can go into a brick and mortar store and handle something. I don't have any other knife nuts living near me that I can go and try something that they got. So I have to rely on videos. And I suppose the part of this video is, do I need to do this behind the edge thinness on all the knives I review? Is it important? Or is it just more important maybe on expensive knives? But then again, you know, this is an expensive knife and it's a fat chunk. This is somewhere just in between. But the fat chunk has been around an awful lot longer than this and sold an awful lot more knives and done an awful lot more tasks than this has. This is completely proven. This is just on its starting life. So is it that important to you? Or is it just maybe new people around? Again, these are questions that I'm hoping that I'm going to get the answers to down below, because this series that I'm going to do is as much for me talking to you, and maybe if you don't know something, you might learn a little bit of what little knowledge I have, but I'll learn an awful lot from you. I mean, is it something you need to know, the behind the edge thickness? Civivi at the minute are knocking it out of the park, not only with their knives, their fit and finish, but their fit and finish. They're a budget brand and they're knocking them out really low, 12,000, 15,000 behind the edge. So is it going to be the way forward? Do the blades themselves, do they become a bit more chippy if they're thinner? And what is the balance? Is 20,000 what this is? In my opinion, this for everyday use, whether it be cutting, whether it be slicing boxes, whether it be doing food, I reckon this is just about all right. 18,000 to 20,000, 17,000 to 20,000 is somewhere where I think that I'd be happy buying the knife. But then again, is there exceptions that you would buy that's way over that? Because this is my grail, still is, and I would buy this. If I lost this, I'd buy another one tomorrow. If I lost this, would I buy another one tomorrow? I don't know. I doubt if I'd spend that money again. This was a one-off purchase, but I would buy this. I would sell all my other knives to buy this. That's the difference, and it's a chunker. So I think you have to weigh up that the knife community is absolutely amazing, and a lot of people have invested an awful lot of their spare time into learning about knives, about steels, about geometry. I'm one of those people that a middle of the road man, a middle of the road man, but I love the knives. I love everything about them. I love holding them. I sit in the house and do this all day long. I have a knife on me. I'm poking, playing with knives. I just love them. But I'm not obsessive about one particular thing like HRC or geometry. Ergonomics is more important to me than how thin that is behind the edge. It's a knife, and I'll sharpen it and I'll get it really sharp. It cuts me sometimes. So I get it really sharp and I cut things with it. But I don't think, wow. Do you know when I think wow is when I'm doing paper and I've just sharpened a knife and it's razor sharp and I put it through a bit of paper and it just slides through and you hear next to nothing, it goes right through. I just get such a buzz. That's when the sharpness. But then again, when I do it with this knife, it does exactly the same thing. It just glides through a piece of paper, but it's thick behind the edge, but it's sharp. So for my everyday use, I'm sort of thinking, it is important. It's important enough, but you don't have to get completely obsessed that, oh, my knife's 25,000, this is no good. Knives like the 940 and Hinderers and whatever, they're chunkers behind, but yet they're the most amazing knives to use as a tool. And let's be honest, let's go back a wee bit further, just to bring blade geometry and what it is. Did our forefathers have a step on us? Because if you take a traditional knife, here's the American Jack. Yeah, it's a big knife. I can get all four fingers on it. There's a blade of about 3 inches, cutting edge just under 3 inches. Beautiful big knife in high carbon steel, so it tarnishes and whatever you want to call it. But it's funny, I went and done a reading on this. I've never done that before. And this was 14 thousandths behind the edge. Right? 14 thousandths. And this is about $120 knife, $130 knife. Now, this is a GEC, so it's good. It doesn't have to be a GEC. You can get an awful lot cheaper with the same sort of blade grinds because the stock was thin. So the blades were thin and they cut things really well. So if you were that bothered, that your knives had to be, well, maybe there's a reason to try traditional. There's a reason to try. Look, you can get all four fingers in this. It's not going to close on you. Because pick a knife that's got a choil, that's got a guard that's going to stop it going against you. So no matter whether you're doing, if you pull back and it goes, it'll bend. The only time it'll cause you any damage is if you're cutting something that sticks and you try to pull back and it'll go. But if you buy a knife, like a GEC that's got a guard, it's not specifically for that, but you sneak your finger up there, that cannot close on you. So you can cut anything that you would need with a traditional knife. Get a traditional knife because it's got this knife has to come from that thickness here down to a thin edge because you want a substantial blade too. This comes from, look at the difference. This is starting thin and getting super thin. The cutting edge, yes, there's a difference, but it depends what you're gonna, if it's a cardboard box, the cardboard box doesn't know this is smaller. It just doesn't know, and it'll slip through them, let me tell you. It's just lathers through much better than something like this, or the 940, or, any other knives that you want to do. So maybe if the thickness behind the edge is something that you really, really like, try traditional and just see. If you've never tried one, I'm only talking to people who maybe never tried one. So I love my traditionals, and because I live in a country where they're legal to carry, it's what I carry most of the time. And although, when I'm out, this is all I've usually got to use. So this is what I use to cut things when I'm out. When I'm in the house, I can pick all my other knives up. So I suppose I'm coming from a different places where I'm used to having the geometry of a traditional in my pocket when I'm out and I'm going to cut something. In the house, I can have the choice of as many as like, or down around the caravan park, it's private ground. I carry whatever I want down there. So I just want people who are just about and who are thinking, oh, I need to have this. Just stop. And I think this goes with everything in a community of people. There is people out there who need, or not need, their joy is numbers and getting things, getting all the maths right, if you like, before they'll buy something, or to to want that. They need everything all lined up before they can buy one thing. I'm not one of those people, but I know what I like and I buy what I like. I just think if you're not, if that doesn't bother you, don't get too involved in the mathematics of HRC, of your thinness behind the edge. Don't let it, by all means, yes, if it's something a manufacturer has said that they're going to do, check it. If it's not that, and HRC now, we can send them off to Kurt and send him a few pounds to send the knife back to you, and maybe a couple of pounds to put in his fund. Kurt is the man. And I'll put his YouTube channel down below. Kurt tests for HRC on knives, and you can send your knife to him. Now he's in America, but you can send your knives to him, and the man does it. I mean, he just all he wants is money to send it back. So you pay for it to go there, send him some money to send it back to you, and maybe throw him a couple of pounds to put in the pot. The man does it in his own spare time. I just think he's an amazing man, and we are so lucky to have him. He actually has the machine in his own garage now. He bought a machine, so there's that. That's HRC. But we were talking about thinness behind the edge. What is your opinions on thinness behind the edge? Let me know down below. I'll be really interested. And I know I've been sort of devil's advocate back and forward, but this is what I want these wee chats to be, because I'm hoping that I'm going to learn maybe something that I need to know that I'm not checking for, that I should check for. I've enjoyed this. I've enjoyed sitting here chatting. It's gone on now 20 odd minutes. I'm sorry. But I mean, sometimes I'll get a subject that doesn't last that long, or I don't have enough to say, which I am Irish. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you for all the thoughts, prayers, and good wishes, whatever you've sent us. I really appreciate it. I'm in the house by myself, so this is when this community helps me, because I'm not alone. I can sit in front of a camera and talk to friends. Isn't that weird? I find that weird. I'm talking to my phone to my friends. I'd be sitting in a house talking or watching a stupid TV program, which is meaningless. This gives me this. Look, you know how important it is if you've been in this community a while. If you're just in it, please join in the conversation. Any questions you want for the next one? I'll maybe do one a week for a while and see how they go. If they're popular, well, we'll just see. But thank you very much. I had a cup of tea down here that I was going to drink while I was talking. And it's cold. So I'm away to put the kettle on, have another cup of tea, and I'll maybe see you next week. If you like it, let me know down below. Take care. Bye now.